Max wanted me to apologize. He cannot be here this evening. He is the proud new uncle of a baby girl.
Well, that's very nice.
And Select Board Member Pratt is not joining us this evening. He has been ill.
Okay, we called the meeting to order. We've had the pledge. Presentations. I take a motion to open public hearing.
I take that motion.
Second. Is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. John Daigle, snow operations.
Well, Barry,
Yeah, so we can hear you.
what I'm asking the selectmen for is part of the winter packing ban ordinance that we have. The ban state from midnight till 6 in the morning. Packing ban on all streets, but it doesn't specify in town. During a storm, I can authorize that vehicles move anytime during the day on any other roads in town. But in the middle of town, I cannot do that because we have parking spaces there. And of course, when we turn around, we get, storms 5 inches an hour. With us going through there with the trucks, we're pushing the snow against the vehicles, which are packed there. And we get more accumulation. We're really messed up downtown. 2 years ago, we were down to 1 lane. Shouldn't be allowed. It has created a lot of problems. It has created problems with us trying to clean the snow in the middle of town. It's getting so, used to be people who knew not to pack there now. Even the other night, was out 1 o'clock in the morning. Still cars packed on the streets. We couldn't do the packing areas. Police finally had them removed. Then we had cars on Redomic Terrace. The truck couldn't go by, treat the roads. It's really causing us a lot of aggravation and costs to taxpayers. What I would like is have flexibility to also apply in town in the parking spaces. Anything over 5-8 inches snow, and it's going to keep snowing. I'd like to prohibit the parking in town.
Over 5 inches.
Yeah.
Do we have signs or anything that we would have to put up?
This would be probably signs would have to be put up, but would be notifying people, as far as the radio or telling them. But I think it's something that needs to be done.
I don't think making it 5 inches, I think, is unreasonable.
Yeah.
Anything over 5 inches.
So that's the only thing I'm looking for.
So what we've already done this year, as we do every year, is the police, we published it in the paper, and there were 2 times notices were left on cars prior to once that November 1st date started. And the cars that were towed were repeat offenders.
Yeah, they were ticketed.
They were ticketed and towed. So that's part of the issue is, and I do think though, we do need to designate a place that we can have those people who would typically park in those spots. We'll have to have a dedicated space.
Yeah.
Just about signage, so.
We can we typically put closings on the radio. we do the radio, we let the newspapers know, and if like, we know we have the potential for a large storm this weekend, we would start now saying, and we could give hours based on when we believe the snow is going to start at, and the end of snow operations.
In general, there have been signs in some of the stores downtown
Mhm.
that give a date, and is that for overnight parking?
That's for
So-
the overnight park.
Okay, and so there is no overnight parking during,
No, from
certain-
November 1st till April 1st.
right?
There
And these
hasn't-
cars were there in the middle of the night?
Oh, yeah, they're
Yeah,
still,
so that's,
it's getting to be.
Yeah.
It's getting to be ridiculous. It used to be, like I said, 1 or 2, but the other night, there was 6 right in town and 2 were on terrace.
seems reasonable to me.
Because I think you should probably have signage too.
Mhm.
Just so people say, well, I didn't know. The signs there, so.
So are we saying if we simply enforce what we now have, your problem would largely be solved?
You know,
No, because in town, he doesn't have authority.
in town. I have the authority on any other road in town to have vehicles towed when I want them. In town, I can't because we're off for parking spaces.
And that authority comes from this board.
So, in an declared emergency, Kyle can declare the emergency, and then John has the ability to
Yeah.
free the roads. What I would suggest is you can do it 2 ways. I would put this up for consideration under our traffic of a revision to our traffic ordinance, and people can vote on it. You can either do a special if you want it, or we can wait till June, and then this season, in cooperation with our emergency management coordinator, they can declare the emergency, and then we can enforce a snow ban. It's a tough. I think John has the authority to do that, or even Kyle has the authority, or the chief of police has the authority, based on the fact that it's public health, safety, and welfare. The problem is when your businesses are open and it's 5 or 6 inches and they haven't closed, where do they park then? That's where you're going to get an issue. But if they can't plow to get through the road, then that's a safety issue. So, I mean, I think that's the fine line that you're going to walk. But I mean, technically right now, Kyle could declare a snow emergency, and he can, John could declare no parking.
So for now, in a way, we have the ability to do what you need to do, but it's kind of springing it on.
Excuse me, can you
people
people use your microphones? I can't, my hearing's not that fast. I don't know what, I
It's
understand.
always
Julie.
Bob.
It's just me. I apologize. It's this microphone here. It's not on. The green light says it's on.
Use your inside, outside voice, Bob.
Sorry,
Use your outside.
I'll use
voice.
my outside voice.
All right.
When I yell, I sound like I'm yelling at people, and I consider to be impolite. So I'll try not to be impolite.
Well, we'll excuse you.
My apologies. So we're covered for emergencies at the moment, but in the medium to long term, we need a more permanent
Yes.
way of addressing this.
Yes.
So I guess I'd go along with backing you and Kyle up in an emergency
Yep.
and recommend that we draft appropriate wording for an ordinance that we can put in front of the voters.
Yep.
And if it's a special town meeting, so be it.
Mhm.
Can you hear me okay, Charlotte? Okay.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Are we allowed to speak?
Yes, Chip. Paul, you had,
I forget who I spoke to, not Julie or whatever. But Main Street during the day, you cannot find a place to park. Because all the people that live in the apartments are parking on Main Street. I think that's a big problem. I mean, if you want people to come into your town, come into your businesses, we have to have a place for these people to park within reason. But I can name you 5, 6 cars on Main Street every day that are up in the apartments.
And it's only 1 hour parking.
Yeah, but who's checking? The cars sit there all day.
You know. But that's what it is in the ordinance. 1 hour parking.
Seth?
Julie,
Any
Julie,
comment?
sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Did you want to respond, Ron? A couple questions. Some municipalities, I'm sure we all see it in Portland and places like that, have blue flashing lights for exactly this real-time notification. They put them in a couple places, strategic intersections, and you can really see them even when it's snowing. I would think that would be one possibility. I don't know.
Police department won't let me use blue lights.
Well, this is a municipal blue light on top of a
Just
pole.
kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You got me. And the other thing is, I'm unclear. Is it the case that the municipal lots, like Coon Lot, are in fact open during snow emergencies, but then maybe plowed later
Yes.
to accommodate? There is someplace people can go, not very far.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Right.
And does signage exist that says 1 hour parking on the, say, Friendship Street?
Actually, it's screwed right to the buildings.
That's why I haven't seen it. Okay.
Yep.
Nope, comment. Nope. Anybody else?
I do think if we're going to utilize, before we go to an official vote, and we can utilize Kyle to declare the snow emergency for anything over 5 inches.
Yep.
I do think what we need to do is, if you can then give us notice so that, say, if we know by tomorrow the storm's coming as predicted, we can start putting that out on social media. We can let the Lincoln County News know, they can maybe put it on their page and the Village Soup, and we can get it into the radio.
Yeah, cool. Good. That's all I needed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Website.
I just want to say, while we have John Daigle here, or Papa Elf, as he's being called, our Public Works Department did a phenomenal job helping Santa out to get the tree up, to create a lot of Christmas spirit so that his sleigh could fly. And I just think that it looks great. And I just wanted to let you know that we've gotten just a wonderful response about that effort. And we just wanted to say thank you.
Not a problem.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
He does have a twinkle in his eye, doesn't
He does. He does.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we have a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. All right, adjustments to the agenda. I have one that we had American Legion approval information letter. And I'll, if that's all right with you, put it at 8.1 under new business.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, I'll proceed to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. All right, that we move to citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments? Seth Hall?
Seth Hall, resident, small business owner. Just wanted to report some, I think, good news. We, the Bug Tussle Annex, has received a grant for 2 electrical vehicle chargers to be stationed at our private parking lot on Jefferson Street, just to the left of the front entryway to the Bug Tussle Annex. These will be relatively small, a pole about this high with 2 machines on it with hooks, and I mean, not hooks, plugs that you plug into your car. They're not fast chargers, but they're the highest capacity level 2 charger you can get. They're 80 amps, so they're future proof. They're very, very big. And so we're grateful for that. We hope to we'd hoped to get them in before the ground froze. It may be March now, but I think we can still get them in. The Bug Test Atlantics as a small business is full. We let our last office today, which is sort of nice for the downtown. It means lots of people are coming and going and so forth. Our last tenant who signed up today is a cosmetologist, and I don't exactly know what her practice is about, but could be interesting to have that business downtown. She's a small businesswoman who just got her certification for cosmetology. And the last thing is we're having a second yoga class starting up at 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. There's such demand for yoga. Meg Livers is doing it on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock, and she's adding a new class that will start at January 8th, Sunday, January 8th, and it'll be at 9 a.m. And I don't exactly know what the rates are. I think it's something like $12 a session, and you can get a book of tickets, so it's a little bit cheaper if you get 5 or 10 or something like that. And you can read our website, and I think she posts on Facebook on all the local towns' Facebook pages, so that you can be in contact with her if you like.
Hi, I'm here. I'm here to represent the neighborhood. We have a nice neighborhood at this point, and there's a little child who lives next door who's 2, particularly here for her. The issue is the number of people who've gone off the street.
Hey, Daryl, can you go grab John?
Yeah, since I've lived there in 15 years, there've been like 6 cars gone off the street. Half of them have been in my yard. I put up some big rocks there to sort of keep them out. But part of it seems to be the icy spot. And when John gets in, I'll thank him for they've been very diligent lately sanding that icy spot. But it's not always icy. Sometimes people are just speeding. And they don't stay on their side of the road. There's a curve there. And 90% of people just drive down the middle of the road. When they come around the curve, you can tell because the paint's all worn off in the center stripe there. So I understand it's a state road, and I know that there are things that we can do and things that we need the state to do. But it's not very clear when you come from Main Street down Jefferson Street what the speed limit is. There's a little speed limit sign kind of in the weeds by the old pizza shop. And after that, you kind of get the feeling that you're out of town and you can just step on it. And that's what a lot of people do. So what I'm asking is, if I don't know where the good sign is that tells people how fast they're going.
It does not work in the winter.
It doesn't.
It does not. That was a grant that we received. It was a free sign. It does not, it freezes up in the winter. That's why it hasn't been out recently.
Okay.
But I can tell you, apparently we missed catching John before he left.
Okay.
But DOT was down in front of Bear Hill Hardware. They did alleviate some of the water that comes across that freezes. The other issue is there is a house that has a driveway coming down that the state believes that they can fix if they can dig up the yard of the house on the hill. And they've been trying to get in contact with that homeowner because the state would have to do work on their property to fix the runoff.
Okay.
So they are trying to address that.
Okay.
And we, every year, at least since I've been here, we've called the DOT and said, this is the issue. They seem to think that the driveway is a new issue.
Driveway's been there.
That driveway has been like that since I've been here 6 years. So,
Barbara-
Been on the road 29
Barbara
years
Vanna
and it's
across
still,
the street says it's been like that since 1958.
oh, I would agree. I mean, probably, anecdotally, John would probably sit here and tell you the same thing. But they are working on it and they are working, we gave them the information we had on the homeowner and some phone numbers that we had so that they could potentially call them and get that permission, because they truly believe now there is something they can dig up and a way to address that runoff across the street. And Public Works has been out. I mean, they've been out. I know they were standing at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you've met Jeremy Joslin, Officer Joslin yet. That accident that recently happened, he literally had driven down Jefferson, had called John Daigle, was on the phone with John Daigle getting Public Works out to sand when that accident happened. So our police department is out, and every time that they feel it's an issue and John is aware of it, they've been going out and sanding.
That's great.
and I think the one prior to that was no UI, wasn't it? So
Well, the one
Yes,
prior to that was
wasn't-
not
that
related
was
to the
nothing.
ice.
the one that took off the telephone pole, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
there were two. One
Yeah.
took off the pole and the
Yeah.
other one messed up the stump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that messed up the stump was the most recent one.
Right.
And he was on the sidewalk
Mm-hmm.
for about 100 yards.
Yeah,
So
that's
God
what,
help anybody who'd been walking there.
yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, no, kudos to the, like I said, Jeremy was out there, Officer Joslin was out there and had just driven over it and said, oh, I got to get the Public Works out. And
That's great. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. And can we have people driving 25 miles an hour?
do you know that that is the absolute largest complaint we get? And I would love to tell you, we can put a police officer there, and while the police officer's there, people will slow down, and when he has a call and leaves, they won't. And most of the time, it's our neighbors who are speeding, but one of the things that I don't know, I don't think you were at the meeting, or maybe you were, Charlotte, I don't remember, but back in April, we had I think it was April or March. It was during budget season, I remember. We had the MDOT engineers come down, and they gave us a presentation, and then we did a public presentation of it. They have some interesting ideas about how to fix that Jefferson, Main, Friendship Street intersection. And it involves doing bump outs and also speed tables on Jefferson and Main Street.
Yes, please.
So, and one of the big things that has always prevented that has been, how do you plow over these, and then the drainage that happens. But John Daigle, who I wish was still here, was in that meeting and very supportive of that idea of the bump outs and the speed tables. I mean, he really, in the past, has not been a fan of the humps,
Right.
but the tables are a little bit different. And they actually brought examples from Augusta that have been
They're
used.
lower.
They're lower, but you really can't speed over them.
Right.
And they don't make the noise that you remember the humps make that da-dum, 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 da-dum.
Right.
You're not going to get that, that noise. And that is part of the Village Initiative program that we will be applying for. They know we are applying for it. They already had 17 towns ahead of us, so we'll be in the next round of grants. And we need to put that match in our budget that we're just starting in January.
Well, if there's anything I can do to support that, I do. And I speak for the neighborhood. We all do. So,
And that's, like I said, that's the biggest complaint we get, is speeding throughout the town. And it doesn't matter if you're on Old Augusta Road or Friendship or Jefferson. Speeding is an issue, and it's throughout the county. That's the one thing. It's not just a Waldeboro issue. It is throughout. We were at a budget meeting with the county, and the county sheriff said that is also the #1 complaint that he gets through all the towns that they service, is speeding.
well, I'm glad I came out.
Well, it's nice to see you. We haven't seen you in a while.
I can't hear, so I don't go to meetings.
Sorry, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Just one additional comment, and that is,
my feeling is that the speeding on Jefferson starts primarily from people coming from Main Street. It's not, the problem isn't people coming from Route 1 and turning off.
No, I think they,
It's people coming
Trust
from
me,
Main
no.
Street
no, they
going
go,
to Route 1.
it's both ways.
Is it?
They speed by my house.
Okay,
right
so
up to
then
Main Street. Yep.
maybe these speed tables ought to be distributed perhaps a little more frequently along Jefferson.
So that's when we met with the MDOT, and that was a very interesting discussion about how can we put those, because that's the truck route. You know, everybody always says that, you know, well, we can't mess too much with Jefferson. It was designed to handle that flow of traffic. It was definitely not handled to handle the speed of that traffic. But they had no problem with putting that speed table one closer to Elm Street, and then one closer, or maybe even two you could have further up.
Yeah.
And the same thing, because as you're leaving, as you know, you get over the bridge and then everybody guns it to get up that hill. That's also an area that we could have, you know, the speed tables, and they're relatively easy to put in. But our engineer is going to be working on a plan, because we have to have a plan before we go. Our engineer is working on a plan for that, and it should be interesting. We provided him with the information that MDOT gave us. But the village partnership is good too, because the state will fund it 60% and we'll have to fund it 40%. And I do believe, from what John Daigle figured, that the speed tables were something Public Works could install, whereas the bump outs downtown, with their idea is to bump out on all four corners and create the illusion of narrowing of the lanes. Even though they're not really narrowing the lanes, it creates an illusion, and that naturally slows people down.
Well, I would like to say that speeding is not a problem in town. Where I live in South Florida, just before the Fintown Road, there's a little straight stretch. I have seen 2 cars, people go by 2 cars on that small area, and then they're going up a hill. So, I mean, it's like they said, it's all over town. It's all over. And I'm probably one of them.
Okay, any other comments? All right, we'll move on to select board comments. Bob, do you
I've
have
got a
anything today?
couple. One is a request that I know our schedules are full, especially now, this time of year. But the request is that we sometime find time to have the Transfer Station Management Board get together to provide some direction to the Transfer Station Committee. And I know that's not easy to do, but it would be helpful if we could do it sooner rather than later. Also, the Sylvania Development Committee at its last meeting recommends to the Select Board that the Select Board put the Hofstas House on the market until June 30th. And they also request that they have a look at the document the town sends out before it sends it out for requests for proposal to cap that property. They have some interesting ideas that may be workable and maybe won't be workable. I know Julie, has suggested that maybe the engineer could talk to that committee before.
So we have an engineer we contract with who has, and I wish John Daigle was here. We've had great success with the capping of both landfills.
Yep.
Pine Tree Engineering from Bath. They know the town. They work well with our staff. So I had reached out to Rob. As you know, I was away last week. So Rob is more than happy to come down and meet with them. I don't necessarily think we have to have an RFP, but he's reviewing the documents that he requested. And I think that we'll get a good idea from him of what can be done and what can't. He also has a good relationship with the DEP. I think that Max, it just went out of my mind what Max's last name is at the DEP.
Johnston.
No,
Oh, Max Lewick.
Max Lewick. I believe they have worked on other projects together. So I don't know necessarily that we'll put out an engineering RFP since we already have him. But I do believe that he is more than willing to meet with the Sylvania committee.
Fantastic. And the only other comment I have is that the Economic Development Committee recommends that the town pursue a broadband planning grant to bring fiber to the homes. And I think that grant goes through the Shelter Institute. Anyway, Max knows about it.
Max is on top of it.
EDC is backing it all the way. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm all set. Okay, that's it.
I'd just like to mention the lights in town. It's been nice. Doing the judging of some of the lights this year, so I've been just driving around and drove some kids around and some adults around looking for lights. And there are some very nice displays. So it's always a pleasant thing to do this time of year. Nothing else.
Gets one in the holiday spirit.
Mhm.
I just have a quick one on the 250th anniversary. Been meeting regularly and things are going great guns. That's going to be good. And I mean, good. Great. It's going to be great.
It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. With the coins are being sold. Things are
They're
going well.
going out
with
like
that.
hotcakes out of the office.
Yeah. The parade is going to be huge. We're going to have some great music, fireworks, an art display, kids programs, and I can't read my writing there.
Is there a
Oh,
dance?
Waldo is having movies throughout the day.
Is there going to be a dance?
Hmm. Mhm.
The band?
Yeah,
That's the plan.
I'm not singing, so why not?
You dancing?
Okay. But they're always looking for help. So if you have an idea that might work with them, you know, we meet on Monday nights, and it's good. It's a good time. Okay, we'll move on to the town manager's report.
So I have a couple of really nice things. I attended the Waldo Theater to watch Songs of Gordon Lightfoot because everybody loves the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And it was just such a lovely evening to have in Waldoboro. You know, it was an hour and a half concert. It was lovely. Everybody there was lovely. And I just think that I wanted to remind everybody the Waldo Theater has a ton of events going on in December. I believe they're doing a sing-along. The Sound of Music sing-along was a lot of fun, I heard too. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. Our tour, as you can tell, we normally do not have this kind of toys and bags of toys here at the town office, or as I call it, the workshop, Santa's workshop. But this year, and I want to give a special shout out to all the elves, Tanya Blodgett, Karen Ann Hager, Peg Tynan, and Marcus. It's been, when I first got here, there was about 28 to 30 families, and we are up to over 50 families with over 100 children that we purchased coats, boots, and toys. There were a lot of toy donations. There was a lot of monetary donations. This town never ceases to amaze me at their generosity of spirit. We had a donor walk in yesterday when she saw all these seats were filled with toys, and half of the toys have already left today. She just burst into tears. We've had people who picked up toys who have burst into tears. It's a rough year, and people have really responded with just such generosity. We have 142 food baskets scheduled to go out next week. The Lions Club made a large donation. People have brought in donations towards the food drive. We've procured chickens, turkeys, and hams because there's a shortage of a little bit of everything, so we had to mix it up. And that to me is just, it again, just speaks to the wonderful things that happen here in Waldeboro. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, we quietly installed the tree down at Pine Street Landing. It's been a huge success. I made my husband record the news tonight because apparently we were going to be on the news tonight on WGMA. So that's exciting.
How did you get it lit up?
They are solar lights.
Are they?
They are solar lights.
Wow.
Mhm. And it's been a magical experience. So we're very proud of everybody who helped. And I have to say that for the tree and for the toys and the baskets, what really speaks so much about the staff here at the office is so many of the toy donations came from employees who truly believe in our mission and what we've been doing in the past few years and just truly becoming part of the community and helping the community. And it's a good thing. And I'm sure it will continue.
You should advertise that to the help. Get in the press, big time, big time. Big
Elizabeth,
time. You know, it's just like teaching. All you hear about was the bad kids.
it's,
never
you know,
hear
it's
about the
hard.
good kids.
It's,
I mean, I was amazed when I walked. in.
everybody is amazed.
I was looking to see if there's anything I could use myself.
Everybody is amazed. And you know, we have people who knit hats every year and mittens, and every child gets a coat who asks for one. And not everybody asks, but they get a pair of good boots, good snow boots, a warm coat,
Yeah.
a hat and mittens, and toys.
The
So
Women's Club supported.
yeah, the Women's Club was great. I mean, we
Yeah.
really, and we'll be sending out, you know, some posts. First, you know, everybody's just done lots of things. So we really appreciate it.
All right, well, let's move on to new business, which is the American Legion approval letter that we do every 2 years. This is for the local American Legion post to host and do bingo, Beano, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday evenings throughout the year. And I would entertain a motion on that.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. All right, that's the only thing I had in new business, old business.
We skipped the consent calendar.
Oh, you're right. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Go ahead, Bob.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion? All in favor? Raise your hands. All opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. All right, we've done the new business. I was in such a hurry to get to that, I guess. All right, old business. Is there anything? No? Okay, agenda items for next meeting.
Are we gonna have another meeting in December?
That was one of my questions is, do you want to have another meeting in December? We're going to have a lot of meetings in January, February, March, and April because it's budget.
Does that rhyme with the budget?
It rhymes with budget.
That would be on the 27th.
It's a little close to Christmas. It's totally up to you.
I'm out of town.
Sorry, Jan,
I said I'll be out of town.
you're out of town.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should mention Karen Ann Hager-Smith, our community navigator. If you'll recall, she was going to be here tonight. She was going to be our featured star. Unfortunately, she had a commitment at another place that she had to go. So she apologized. But she will be at our next meeting to give you an update on everything that was Christmas and everything that's been done. I should also mention too that we have seen an uptick in some requests for fuel assistance that we're coordinating with all providers throughout Lincoln County. So we have seen that, and so I'm sure she'll update you on all of those.
I'd move we meet the first Tuesday, second Tuesday in January, that be our next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, any other agenda items for the next time we do meet? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Is there any discussion?
Point of order, you can't have a discussion on the motion to adjourn.
You can't have, no discussion is needed.
It's not allowed.
Oh, it's not allowed. Okay.
Just FYI.
I'm sorry for the Robert's Rules of Order infraction. I didn't mean for it. Okay, we'll go ahead and proceed to vote. Is there any, no, there isn't. All in favor of adjourning? I'm going to raise my hand way up. All opposed, same sign. Motion